Oh my, silly season. My first real silly season predictions. Um, Things could change. People may be moving. Let's go ahead and kind of predict maybe what'll happen in the silly season. Yes, it's some of the fans' favorite time in NASCAR. Silly season, when contracts expire, when sponsors leave and go somewhere else, and when young prospects climb the ladder into their NASCAR career by going into the Cup Series. What's going on, everybody? Cool 200 here back, and I am here to kind of share my predictions on what I think will happen in the NASCAR silly season, off season, pretty much. I know it's only June. It's very early to talk about this, but it's also very real. There's a lot of contracts that are up, like Clint Boyer, Eric Almirola, Daniel Suarez. I heard Eric Jones's DeWalt contract, and I think his contract himself is up, and I think they're negotiating. Kurt Busch with his 1-year deal, Matt DiBenedetto with his 1-year deal signing with Levine Family Racing, but Levine Family Racing has an option to extend that contract for another year. That is the same with, I think, what's his name? Wasn't that the same with Clint Boyer? I don't know. There's so many contracts, it's crazy. Also, I want to throw in Alex Bowman. I don't think Alex Bowman's going to go anywhere, but because Nationwide is now pulling out, that leaves him with a lot of races unsponsored, and with Exalta, Lumar, and Valvoline, I don't know if they can kind of negotiate it to kind of expand their sponsorship, but Alex Bowman, if he doesn't maybe find another sponsor, could he be on the hot seat? So I actually have my predictions written down here because God knows I can't remember all of this stuff. So I'm gonna start with the number one. We're just gonna try and go in numerical order here. We have number one with Kurt Busch obviously driving this car for Chip Ganassi Racing after they let go of Jamie McMurray. He was only on a 1-year deal, so that deal expires at the end of this race season. And a lot of people think that they're going to give the boot to Kurt Busch and put in Ross Chastain. Well, I can see that happening too, but I also heard that they are negotiating a little bit with the contract signing, and I think Kurt Busch is having a lot of fun in that one car, and I think Chip Ganassi likes having him around. So my prediction is either Kurt Busch extends his contract for maybe another year or two, and then he'll probably leave, and they'll put Ross Chastain in, or Chip Ganassi decides to go with the younger style driving, and they just put Ross Chastain in, just in general. So my prediction is either Kurt stays or Chastain is going in. It's really hard to tell until the contract signing is really up. So, yeah, I if I had to pick one, I think Kurt Busch is gonna stay. He's doing a lot for that team right now, and I think Kurt and Chip Ganassi are growing a huge bond with each other, and I can see Kurt Busch staying maybe for one more year, or until Kurt Busch decides to retire. Who knows? All right, with that one, so Kurt Busch staying in the one is my final opinion here. Not opinion, but my final prediction on that car. We go with the number 10 now, Eric Almirola. His Smithfield contract is up, and so is his Stewart-Haas contract. I believe that is up as well. So Eric Almirola and Smithfield. Smithfield has been a very loyal sponsor to Eric Almirola. They obviously went with him when he jumped ship to Stewart-Haas Racing. I don't think anything changes. I think Almirola and Smithfield will stay in the 10 car, and I think he has a few more years with Stewart-Haas Racing. So I don't think anything changes with the 10, but that is something to look at, as we have young stars like Cole Custer, Christopher Bell. They're looking for cup rides at this point. Cole Custer not as much as Bell. Bell obviously doing amazing in the Xfinity Series. I think he won 8 races last year, I think. So He's definitely wanting a Cup ride, and he definitely deserves it. So, but I don't think he'll get Eric Almirola's ride, and obviously he is with the Toyota camp, so that also kind of downs any chance with SRH, but it could happen. Speaking of Stewart Haas Racing, we are going with the number 14 of Clint Boyer. His contract is up at the end of the season. Clint Boyer is a little iffy. I don't know what the results aren't exactly there for Boyer. He doesn't have a win yet this season. In fact, none of the Stewart Haas cars have a win this season. They're all on the hot seat. No, I'm kidding. At least Harvick isn't. Clint Boyer, it's hard to say. I feel like they might move Cole Custer into that seat if they do decide to kick up Clint Boyer. Cole Custer's in that seat. But I think they're going to give Clint Boyer maybe one more year. That is my prediction. I have Clint Boyer in the 14 for next year. But after 2020, 2021, I'm seeing Cole Custer take that seat for sure. So Clint Boyer, I think it's one more year with Stewart Haas Racing, but we'll see. Next is the 20 car of Eric Jones. His contract, along with DeWalt Stanley Craftsman Tools, contract with Joe Gibbs Racing is up. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with DeWalt Tools. Obviously, they are leftover sponsors from Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth with DeWalt, Carl Edwards more with Stanley. They have both pretty much set their money right to Eric Jones. Kind of looks like they're kind of doing that brand thing. You know, they branded Matt Kenseth, longtime sponsor with DeWalt. They pretty much branded him with DeWalt. Carl Edwards kind of different. He is branded with Stanley Tools, and then with Eric Jones, it kind of looks like they're on with the Craftsman side. So I don't know. I think DeWalt is more loyal to Joe Gibbs than what some people are giving them. I think Eric Jones, who is not doing the best this season, but that's more on his pit crew side than his actual driving side, although he has made a few mistakes this season, but not too many to account for. I see Jones staying for another year or two at Joe Gibbs Racing, and I see DeWalt Stanley Craftsman Tools signing another contract with Joe Gibbs Racing to keep Eric Jones in the 20. I think they're bidding money on Jones right now, and we'll see if it pays off, but I see Jones in the 20. And I know some fans are going to be mad about that because they really want to see Christopher Bell. They think Bell is better than Jones. I can't really say because I don't watch the Xfinity series, but that may be. But I'm sorry, Bell fans. Jones is probably here to stay for another few years. Next, I want to talk about one car that is not a full-time car anymore. That is the 31, the third car for RCR. We know after Paul Menard got the boot from RCR, they took out the 27. And then last year last year they put in Daniel Hemrick into the 8 car while Ryan Newman and Austin Dillon were driving. So there were still kind of 3 cars. And that's the same with this year, except it's with the 31. They put Tyler Reddick in that car. And Richard Childress has stated that he wants Tyler Reddick in the Cup Series next year. Well, with 2 young drivers, Austin Dillon and Daniel Hemrick, and he's not going to kick out Austin Dillon. Okay, that's his grandson. Obviously not going to do that. And Daniel Hemrick only in his first year. He's not going to kick out Daniel Hemrick. And Richard Petty's not going to expand. And Hendrick Motorsports can't expand. And JTG Doherty Racing I don't think will expand. So, the only other option I see is they take that 31 car and they put it back out on the track as a full-time ride. I think, bold prediction here, Tyler Reddick takes the 31 car as a third entry into the RCR lineup after 2 years of it only being a 2-car team. So Tyler Reddick is going into that 31 car as a full-time Cup driver next season. Maybe not with the 31, but I mean he drove the 31 this season for 2 races. So I think Tyler Reddick deserves a Cup ride. He's did pretty well in Xfinity. I think he has 2 wins. I know he has one at Dega, and I can't remember where the other one was, but 2 wins on the season. Last year's Cup champion, or not Cup champion, Xfinity champion. A little questionable, I think, on some people's minds, but he did win it, and I think he gets the 31 next year. So there's that. All right, the last Stewart-Haas driver we have to talk about is Daniel Suarez. His contract is also up this season. Could Daniel Suarez be a free agent again? I don't think so. I don't think that's where Suarez is going to go. They just brought Suarez in. He's actually improved somewhat this season. I think he's done a lot better than he was in the 19 for sure. A lot more top 10s, a few top 5s. I think he's even led a few laps, if I'm not mistaken. So he's done very decent this season in that 41 car. Not a whole lot of sponsorship. He obviously has Eris, and he has that. What else does he have? He has another weird sponsor. I think he's got a few sponsors, but it's mostly that Haas car that you see, kind of like with Kurt Busch last season. You saw that Haas car a lot more. But I think Daniel Suarez is going to stay. I don't see him going anywhere. I think they'll give him one more year, kind of like what Joe Gibbs did, to see if he'll improve. And if he does, they'll probably keep him for a little while longer. So that kind of questions where Cole Custer will end up. Well, unfortunately for the Cole Custer fans, he's going right back into Xfinity Series for, I think, a third or fourth season. I think it's third. So, sorry, Cole Custer fans. I like Cole Custer myself. I think he's a phenomenal driver. I can't speak. But, unfortunately, it's just not his time yet. Unless Clint Bowyer gets the boot, I think if there's any chance for Cole Custer to get into the Cup Series next season is if they give the boot to Clint Bowyer. But I think with Peak and Blue Def and isn't Mobile One on Clint Bowyer's car still? I think Mobile One is still on Clint Bowyer's car. If not, they moved to Harvick completely. And he has a few other weird sponsors. I think Clint Bowyer's here to stay for at least another year. So maybe 2021 is where Cole Custer gets that 14 car, but it's most likely going to be that 14 car if Cole Custer gets into the Cup Series. All right, now on with Levine Family Racing just in general. I have heard Bob Levine say that he wants to open a second car if he can get the backing for the sponsor or backing from sponsorship. Now, me personally, I don't think there's going to be a huge issue with that. If he does open a second car team, we talked about Christopher Bell. Well, Joe Gibbs is pretty stacked with Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin with FedEx money, Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., who just came in and doing very well. 3 wins on the season already, and I mean, that's pretty good. So I don't see Christopher Bell getting into the Joe Gibbs lineup unless for some reason the negotiation completely fails with Eric Jones and he leaves. But not going to happen. So, with unfortunately a smaller team kind of comes into question. And Matt DiBenedetto is unfortunately on the hot seat after just 1 year, not even 1 year, half a year with the team. But here's what I predict is going to happen. I predict that Levine Family Racing opens a second car. You remember they did run a second car. They had like Ty Dillon, I think, in the 59, and Michael McDowell in the... Michael McDowell was in the 59. Ty Dillon was in the 95. They had 2 cars. But I think that's going to be a full-time ride at this point. I think they're going to reopen the 59 as a full-time ride, and either Matt DiBenedetto or Christopher Bell is going to take that seat. Now, I don't think they'll move Matt DiBenedetto into the 95, or the 59. I think he'll stay in the 95, and they'll move Christopher Bell into the 59. I think if Christopher Bell can move up Ream from Xfinity, I think that'll be a big help with the sponsorship for the 59. And I think Ream is very loyal to Christopher Bell. Obviously, Christopher Bell, again, a phenomenal driver. 8 wins last season. That's crazy. And Kyle Busch in a lot of those races. So, yeah. But if they don't open a second team, I think Matt DiBenedetto is here to stay. They just got him. He hasn't really shown the numbers. I think he's 2 positions lower than Casey Kane's average finish last year in a struggling Chevy car. So, I mean, it's I think he's 26th in the point standings. So, not phenomenal. But I think Matt DiBenedetto will get another chance. This is his first time in a Toyota, a Toyota in the Cup Series, I think. Because he ran the 32. No, I'm wrong. He had the 83 for BK Racing. Okay, whatever. But, Levine Family Racing just switched to Toyota, so maybe they're still trying to get a handle on it. I don't know. But I know Matt DiBenedetto is a great driver, and I think he is going to stay if they don't open 2 cars. Well, he's going to stay either way, but if they open 2 cars, Christopher Bell should be in the 59. The last one I want to talk about is kind of a toss-up here. This is just kind of a, with contracts being up and people moving out, I have to mention this one. Alex Bowman in the 88. We all know since 2015, Nationwide has been on the hood of that car. More of a sponsor, obviously, to Dale Earnhardt Jr. They kind of took a gamble with Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman has definitely shown the numbers this season. But, unfortunately, we all know now that Nationwide has pulled out of NASCAR. So that's really unfortunate. But I think that Alex Bowman could get more sponsorship, or maybe have Exalta, Valvoline, and what's that other one? Exalta, Valvoline, and what's that? There's another one. Can't remember it. Lumar. That's it. Maybe have one of those expand, or all of them kind of expand their contracts, or expand their sponsorship, and maybe they'll get a full season's worth of sponsors right there. Or maybe have another outside sponsor come in for Bowman. Very pretty market. I can't speak. It's 2 o'clock here while I'm making this video. I can't speak. But I think he's a very marketable driver. And I don't see an issue with Alex Bowman getting a sponsor. But there's always an if. If Alex Bowman doesn't get sponsorship and he has, almost half the season unsponsored, there's a chance Hendrick could go with another driver. Junior's got some good drivers there. Justin Allgaier, I think he struggled a little bit this year, but Justin Allgaier's in there. He's got tons of people riding the 8, which Regan Smith apparently is going to be driving the 2 road courses for Junior Motorsports. So Junior Motorsports getting back to Regan Smith in the 8 car. So that's going to be cool. I think it's Mid-Ohio and Road America. I think those are the 2. So there's a little news there. But Junior's got some good ones there. Noah Gregson, I think, is in his first year. Michael Annett, we all know Michael Annett is iffy. So Justin Allgaier really Justin Allgaier is really the only good driver at Junior Motorsports. They could pull him in for a 3rd season in the Cup Series because he did drive 2 seasons already, kind of like Alex Bowman. They could do that, or they could somehow negotiate and steal Christopher Bell and put him in that 88 car. I mean, how crazy would Christopher Bell look in that 88 car? And a Chevy, no less. So that could happen, but like I said, I don't see that happening. And Alex Bowman really only in his 2nd season with Hendrick Motorsports, 4 seasons in the Cup Series and all. I don't see Alex Bowman getting the boot just yet. He's definitely improved this season, and with Nationwide leaving, that is a big hit for that team, but I think they'll find financial backing, just like they did with Jimmy Johnson. They were put in this hole last year, but it was way worse with Johnson. I think it's going to be a little easier with Alex Bowman. Like I said, very marketable driver. So there is my predictions. I hopefully, don't. Hopefully, I'll have everything written right there. We'll see. Depending on the computer. No, I won't actually because my grandma's internet's out. Never mind. That's not going to be there. Scratch that out. That's unfortunate, but I guess I could give you my listing here. So we talked about everybody. So here's the list. If you guys can see it there, there is kind of everybody that I talked about. You can see Cole Custer up here to Xfinity and everything like that. So had everything there. That's what I wanted to talk about today. That is my show. Let me know, guys, who is staying and who's leaving in the Cup Series this season. Do you think anybody will suddenly retire? I don't see that. I think Harvick will stay. I think Newman will stay for another few years. Johnson's going to stay till his contract's up next season. Kurt Busch, I think, is still going to stay unless he gets booted. Oh, by the way, if Kurt Busch gets booted out of the one, I think that's the time where we see Kurt Busch step away from the sport and do something else, which is going to be unfortunate. But yeah, guys, that's kind of my show. That's what I wanted to talk about. Leave a comment down below. Who do you think is moving where? And are there more contracts that I didn't discuss? I think I discussed all of them. I mean, there may be more that are not out there. Maybe some with the smaller teams. But yeah, guys, just let me know all that down in the comments below. I can't wait to read them all. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Oh, also, Myatt Snyder ran the 13 this season. Or this at Gateway in the Truck Series. Forgot to mention that. Just so you guys know who took over the 13 since I didn't really make a video on that, which I don't know why I would. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it. Peace out.